GM. Oh, G. Good evening. Good evening. So used to be morning. Welcome to episode 3 of Predict Fantasy Tops Predict Daily. I'm your host, the Carpenter. Alongside me today, someone I consider my quant. Um, Mooney Mills is his ex. I know him as Clay. Clay, how are you?
I'm rock and rolling, man. And I've got to give you a shout out to Graphic, the Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I'm glad you chose me for Scorpion. I three times as a kid was Scorpion for Halloween.
Let's
Big Mortal
go.
Kombat fan.
Heck yes. I'm glad. I was hoping so. That was the case. Like because I'm huge on Sub Zero.
Right
Um,
on.
just because like the freezing, like mostly because of the video game, right? Like I'd always freeze my brother and then like break him and stuff, and he'd get so mad. He's like, "That's such a cheap move."
There you go. Yin and yang for between Scorpion
Yep,
and Sub-Zero. That's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
glad to be here.
perfect. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, and you um, like I was talking to you a little bit in the green room. Like with our, even though we're in the same legit, like a couple hours apart, we have completely different sleep schedules, different like schedules altogether. So like you're watching my streams when you're working out. I end up working out like 2 a.m. So I catch replays of your streams when I'm working out. So you've been crushing it on your streams, man. I'm super happy to have you like streaming on the X account now.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean prediction markets have me pretty excited because I jumped in early 2023 to prediction markets. And I feel like the fantasy prediction market is kind of along the lines of what I know best. And especially, I mentioned in the stream a couple of days ago that all of us who have been around and playing core for at least a couple of seasons, we have the opportunity to start as like a level 3 insider, is what I say for
Yep.
prediction markets. So we have an edge. So you kind of get out of it what you put into it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And that's like the thing too, is like I feel like it is we have like kind of like in like you say, I do like that level 3 insider, but at the same time, it is to the point where we can like anyone can come in and like just dominate if they just like easy eats. I'm gonna try and get him on a stream one of these times because he does like I think Kalshi and why am I having a brain fart? Polymarket. But I think he could even though he plays this game a little bit, but I feel like anyone, so that might have been a bad example, but anyone that doesn't even play fantasy could come in if they know prediction markets and come in and just crush, right? Or like at least do
Yes.
well and not be super far behind, right?
Well, especially when you think about it, is you just studied the 180 some heroes in the game and you put that time into it, you're going to start. And then, of course, looking at the charts, understanding how they've historically done, you can catch yourself up within a couple of weeks, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. And then my personal favorite thing is like with the currently, and I say this about every stream just for so in case someone's like, oh, well, in this old video, you said it was frags and now it's so and so. But just for the time being, it's frags. It may or may not change in the future. But with it being frags, what I like is someone could come in, buy a few frags, or heck, even as we'll get into later, we're going to be giving away some frags. Thanks to the founders today. So someone could win some frags, go in there, bet them, build that stack up, and then next thing you know, they can build a good competitive core deck, right? And so it helps with that as well, as me being a core player. But we'll definitely stick with the prediction market side of things today. And that's why like there's been 3 episodes and I've had 3 of the people I consider to be people I look up to in the game. We had Pavel, HK, and yourself. And super excited to hear kind of like how you did last week and kind of how you're looking at things this week.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want me to go ahead and jump in and do a
Yes,
recap
sir.
of? Awesome. So my screen is up. Hope everybody can see it. So I want to start by just scrolling down to each of the markets that have fully resolved. And on the DB one, I definitely lost. I was betting on DB to do the back-to-back week posts. But I'll jump over here. So how many heroes scoring 0? In the previous streams, I've definitely talked about uh, getting the right entry point, and then there's nothing wrong with taking some profits off the table leading up to the actual betting closing. So that is one of my strategies. I'm looking for mispriced markets. If things start to go my way and I can size out some profits, then I do. The same goes for sizing out losses. So if you bet 100 fragments on a market and it's not going your way and you can cash out for 68, 70, sometimes you have to take that loss. And if you're focused on an ROI, then those are the moves you're going to have to take and be pretty active in. But starting with this market, I think is really fun. How many heroes will score 0? So for this week's ended up being 20, but like a day and a half in, it was still like 35 or 40 heroes had not posted. And the 18 plus is where we ended up hitting the 100% on. Went with 18 plus. Got a little scary there towards the end. A few last posts, but was very happy to see 100% hit in this market. And I'll definitely be playing this market going into next week as well.
Now, what would you say is your favorite market to find mispriced matchups?
Oh yeah, so I did a post on this too, but here's my favorite. It's the actual players, which hopefully we expand out into other leagues, but specifically for platinum.
Oh, okay, yep.
Let me actually go back. I'll show results from this past week because this ended up being one of my best multiples for wins. And
Did you go with Godric?
yes, and the took somebody else side, so I was actually able to hedge my bet. And no matter how
Oh,
it
nice.
ended, going in the final like 16 hours, I was going to hit a 10x.
Let's go.
So
That's the clay way.
that's right. Data-driven decision is really boring, but I don't like to lose money, so that's my
Heck
strategy.
yes.
So basically, what happened was early in the tournament, Collier Godric had like 300-point lead and still some room to run from his decks. So the five cards in core and platinum league, and I started looking at everybody else, especially those players who had markets on themselves instead of the someone else category. And what I noticed was there were very few cards that still had room to run. And then there was also another side of it with what I would call diminishing returns. So a hero having a really high score in their epic version of their card, as an example. But I knew that they would post more during the tournament. They weren't going to, post something that was a banger and then stop posting. And the more they posted, the diminishing returns kicked in. Other heroes posting, of course, that's how the scoring works. And with them not having enough upside, to me, it was really taking a position in Godric here and at the 20x. And then I took a position in someone else, which was essentially everybody else. You take the other side of the field beside these here or these players who are listed, and getting in there as well at 20x. So I was able to size out all of my other bets, get the profit, and then get to the actual closing of the tournament. And then no matter how it ended up, someone else or Godric, I felt like those were virtually the only two options. You take a 20x win here, 20x hit win here for the essentially the same amount. And you can split down the middle and just say you still got a 10x. So overall, at the close, was this the five frags that I left on the table to get to 80, but I had sized out quite a bit beforehand, thanks to Godric keeping the lead.
That is huge. Uh, See, I wish I would have sized out a little more. Like, so when I had Pavel on, that's something I wasn't doing a lot of, right, at first, because I was kind of, and like when I talked yesterday with HK, I was more into the line of like still thinking about core. And like, so when I would set something, I was used to like just letting it ride. Like, I'd only look at things that I thought were going to go to like resolution, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then I realized, like talking to Pavel, it's like, wait, this intern, he might not finish first. Like it's probably less less than 50% chance that he finishes first, but I'm already up, 20, 30x. I need to start pulling some of this stuff out. Um, and ended up pulling like I think 20 some frags out of a 2 frag bet. And then he didn't end up
Right
winning,
on.
but still I ended up getting those out, right? I know that's a lot of frags on the table not doing that. Literally being like an hour late. I had the time wrong when you could pull them out. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, it was which I like that they do that, right? They have the cutoff. And so definitely mix my strategy up for this next week.
yeah, and this. So while we're on stream here, I've already identified a couple of markets that I feel like are good to jump into. But I think it's important that when the betting goes live, we want the best prices. So I'm constantly looking for the mispriced markets, right? So if I see something that's getting a 3 to 1, I ask myself if this happens 25% of the time, then essentially it's I think of it as kind of break even. If I think it happens closer to 50% of the time, then it's mispriced. It's mispriced by 50%. And so that's how I kind of mentally go through, especially as I look at hundreds of markets here within the fantasy prediction markets. And one example of that, let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, so the hero battles. I'd say this is like my second favorite.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah, because like virtually it should be coin flips when they put them head to head, right? But
Mhm.
again, like if we've played enough and we understand the historical ups and downs of the hero, we have the alpha,
And
such as like
upcoming news as well,
yes,
right?
yeah, exactly. I can't remember. I maybe it was you and Pavel on the stream mentioned, Maine was taking it easy over the holidays, right? And
Yep.
so that market was still live, and that was a huge opportunity to essentially make almost 30% right there. And so this was another one of my solid returns. Went into five of the six, kind of holding through here, and hit with all of them. So we took Greg over naive. Uh, did not mess with the thread Rasmer to the end. I actually took a loss early on this one, and so exited and shaved off my losses by down to like 20%. But then everywhere else, if you look at like so 1.69, 1.28, 1.49, 1.47, it ended up being almost a 60%. And I felt like these were very, very safe uh, bets by just sticking to, data driven decisions leading up to the cutoff. And then at the cutoff, essentially as close to the cutoff as you can possibly get, then you want to understand and find more of your conviction plays where you feel like it has been de-risked for you. So I think the best one out of all of these were definitely the CRG versus Maine. When I started betting, I started off with way less frags than 158, but then I sized in, and about an hour before betting was shut off, I was still getting like 1.09, 1.1, I believe, which to me was, it basically told me they were selling dollars for 90 cents.
Heck yes. Yes, that's a great way to look at it, right? One thing that kind of got me on that with last week. So Adam, like everyone thought, and including myself, I thought Adam was like uh, a shoe in, right? So
Yeah.
Pavel and myself were doing it, and I seen there was a lot of other people doing it too. There at the end when people would uh, size out, and this is what I like too. And Pavel kind of showed me, and it was like when someone sells out of a position, it opens up a window for you to get in at a better odds. And so I kept like kind of there's a few of us like racing for it, right? Whenever
Yeah.
someone would size out, and so I kept sizing into Adam, 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 Adam. Well, these other people that were kind of looking for these higher upsides were like, I kind of looked back and seen what people were doing is they were sizing into Dip Wheeler, but like HK when he uh, seen that post from Dip, like something the way HK looks at things, right, is he can see him a little bit like because he's so like he has noties on for every single hero.
Yeah.
So he could
Yeah.
see this has a good chance to take off. Where I was thinking, I've got these. I'm like you said, they're selling dollars for 85 cents here. I'm definitely grabbing these atoms. And that ended up taking my profits from break even, or I mean, well above break even to closer to break even. Um, which that's what I love about the game, right? It can change, and it literally one tweet can change the whole leaderboard.
Perfect example of that was Eel winning King of the Hill solely.
That's so cool.
So like 24 hours before it closed, there were 12 ties. I had 10 of the 12 decks. So I was just like, I was counting my chickens. I
Yep.
shouldn't have. I knew something could go crazy. But yeah, Eel taking home like 31,000
That's
frags
so
from
cool.
the dip.
And being
That
an OG is
momentum.
even better.
What's that?
He's him being an OG makes it even better, right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Intuition from Eel is definitely there. On the HK side, like you mentioned, all the noties on. I mean, that's like a first step to being really in tune with these markets.
Yep.
And HK being able to look at a post, understand like its engagement and that momentum. I mean, that right there is like a sixth sense for jumping into some of those markets. One thing I will say though is like one of my biggest losses was Adam Cochran um, ending in first, and I believe my cost basis, or essentially when I got in, it was somewhere around like 6-1. And so the way I think about that, let's just call it 5-1, kind of simply. The way you need to think about that is like, do you feel like he's going to get first 1 in 5 times? Or in my case, it was 1 in 6 times. The answer right now with all this momentum is absolutely yes, right? So it's a
Yep.
plus EV entry. The second we have that work once in every 5 or 6 times, then you can think of that as break even. But the reality is he's going to snag first more often than that. And so I think over a large sample size, being process oriented instead of results oriented in just 1 week, I think we'll continue to see some really really good returns.
Absolutely. And that's I mean, as we've seen with your like arena play and even back in tactics play, and even like going back to your poker days, right? That
Yeah.
data analysis is really good. And that's why like so in the down here, I'm gonna move 1 second just real quick. 710 said G fantasy lads, GM or G. Good evening.
GG.
uh, I'm gonna hide that real quick, so I can see. So I put Boxing Day, which kind of like an inside joke because I was talking to HK. I'm like, I don't even know what Boxing Day is. I don't think we do that in the US. And then can Adam reclaim number one, and then copy trading. This is what I want to hit on you because I have noted myself. I'm kind of looking copy trading in a sense. That's what I love about the feed, seeing what people are doing. I watch you, I watch Pavel, I watch Franz, I watch HK, right? Um,
Yeah.
and do you think that could happen? Be something here, like some more of a copy trading type of thing?
Uh, I think it's actually like kind of a way to catapult yourself forward in understanding and learning fantasy stock prediction markets. So way back in the day, so this is literally going into like core main one. Uh, it took me about a month to really get my footing of like the competitive side, which is like I couldn't turn it off.
Yeah.
And what I ended up doing like way back in the day was actually looking at the decks that Franz continually was winning with like kind of the key like 2 to 3 heroes. And in a way, I was like copy building his bronze decks. And then I started realizing like, okay, he's like a master of bajillion decks. And then what
Yep.
I naturally gravitated towards was realizing I could run like a 5 common deck in Elite at the time for 2 packs and B plus
Yes.
EV. And I started to essentially like copy some of those other lineups with buying those heroes and those rarities. So flash forward on the prediction side, it's the same thing. It's like, who's currently winning in one of the 3 categories of the trading competition, and which category do you want to fall into? Because volume, focusing on winning the volume category is entirely different from the ROI category, right? And I think it's too early for all of us to settle in, although I naturally gravitate towards like the P&L or the volume, or excuse me, the P&L or the ROI. But depending on what direction you want to go, start looking at other people's trades, especially when they size in, if they are entering and just letting it ride, or if they are trying to size out or exit early, because all of those decisions and choices can be part of your arsenal.
Yes. See, that's another way to that I have kind of looked at it as well is in a different sense, right? Of like just finding ways, especially in the prediction market side, right? Of like finding ways to add to the arsenal is definitely because like you are more of a numbers guy. Same with the mult, same with blind squirrel, and then we have someone who is more like core driven, which so more like put bet it and then let it ride like HK, and then you have Pavel who is like just across the board like looking to get grab as many little frags as possible and get that volume right. Boom, 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 volume, volume,
Yes.
volume. Same with Franz. So like I have my driver, my mid iron, and my putters, right? So
Yeah.
all you guys in the bag. So I definitely have something would be cool to have like noties to be able to like when someone's trading. So we kind of like a copy trading type of thing, right? Would be kind of
Yes.
cool. Very cool.
I think that this first season doing the season long for the trading competition is the right move. I think in the future the team will realize like a 1 week long trading competition
Mhm.
could kind of make those smaller so you can get more practice and understand like what people are getting the most excited by. But as like one example I want to show real quick is with these markets being open, it's still super early because a lot of players are finalizing their core decks on Sunday nights. That's when they're
Yep.
going to go heavy into the trading competition. If there's any spots left on the arenas, kind of jumping in and having their fantasy time then. But some of
Yep.
these markets. So I wanted to show you let's see, I had the note here. Okay, yeah, how many heroes blanking? Okay, so
This one confuses me. I wanted to pick your brain on this, since I'm glad you're bringing it up.
right on. So yeah, so this one, when the market goes live, it's all about like, what is the current volume? What is the liquidity that's starting? And again, I'm looking for just mispriced. And so I want to essentially put my money into the most mispriced markets, right? And even if I'm like, let's say I'm a big Dip Wheeler fan, but I like his odds, and I'm like, well, I don't like Adam Cochran, he wins too much. Like trying to remove that emotion from it. It's like literally just like, what does the data say, the historical data, and then what is the current odd? right? And so here what was interesting is when this market opened, it's how many heroes will score zero next week in main three for season 7. And the odds are so 0 to 14, 15 to 17, 18 to 20, and then 21 plus. So these are always going to evolve because the team's going to take the historical data, be optimizing, making sure the markets start off as as close to rightly priced as possible. So then it's up to us to try to put our money where our mouth is and take the contrarian bets. And so when this
Yeah.
market opened, what I wanted to really focus on was am I getting better than like 4-1 odds? Because if so, I can essentially take a spread across all of them and then
Oh
I can
yeah.
start to size in and out. So, as an example, just because the market's just started and I wanted the best price, I literally threw like one frag into each of these, right? Uh, but if anything like that happened this week, so like 20 heroes, and the over is 21, that's going to be pretty close. So the closer you get to that number, the worst odds out of the whole market you should see. And we do see that. So it's 4.06, 4.05, 4.05, and 3.2. But something that, here's some alpha. A lot of us are, again, we want the best price because the second you enter, just like at the very top, like literally step number one, lock your odds, right? Choose a side. The moment you place the bet, your odds are locked.
That's what I love.
And so it's like you can either be early or you can look for mispriced markets and then do this trick. So check this out. So in this situation, 21 plus, if I wanted to bet now, so I got into 3.2, it says 2.97. I click here, it's showing 2.97. It starts as a default of 10 frags. So this is something that I've started doing going through the markets is taking that zero off, and all of a sudden it's 3.01, right? And so you may think like it's not that big a deal, but those like I mean I've seen a lot of these markets 2 to 8% that you are leaving on the table by doing just default of 10 and
Yep.
start instead of starting with one. And I was able to actually size up and get over the four with each of these because I moved down to one.
There you
And so
go.
it's just free money. It's like literally if you're placing a bet, you already have the conviction, whether you believe the data is there or not, you're going to put frags to work, then you need to familiarize yourself with the actual odds at real time. So 5.25, somebody scrolling, they think that's the maximum. So does it change when I go from 10 to 1? Yes, 5.39, extra 0.14. So you've got to ask yourself, are you going after ROI, P&L, or volume?
Yep. Or if you're like Pavel, you're going after all three.
That's right. Right now he is. I think he'll settle in. I'm guessing him and Vasavi might go head to head for the volume game.
Yeah, Vasavi. I always mess his name up. That's why I hasn't. I like in the streams. I don't like. I feel bad butchering people's names, so I either like call him Vav or like I
Wait, is
people.
it Visa
Yeah,
Visa V? I've always said Vasavi. Vasavi. So sorry if it's not Vasavi.
like I think HK calls it vis a vis. But either one is better than what I call it because I just like butcher it, so I just skip it and like call it
Right on.
Vav.
Right on. Well, yeah. Like here's a good example. So here's the man of the hour right there. So it took 0 to 14 in at for 10. And so you can think of this as almost like 5% of this volume in this market came from his bet. And you start looking at the spreads here, and
He's an
in
analytic guy like you, right? He's a numbers guy.
yes, yeah. And so like right now, like this is showing us one of the smallest bets. So he's wanting to lock in some of the best pricing. That being said, we know that he's doing a lot of volume. So wherever he has the most conviction, I'm sure he's going to be circling back, especially as we see, the volume for a lot of these markets grow and add another like 2 to 3x between now and Sunday night.
Heck yes. Real quick, I need to I want to say this because we're in about we're a little while into the show. We are doing a giveaway. So anyone who um, you know, we'll just probably do it with you can retweet if you want, but definitely comment. Um, we are going to be giving away a total of 3K frags. 3 people will be earning 1,000 frags apiece. And then it will be announced 24 hours after the stream. Um, and so just wanted to get that out. Also, the call to action. If you are watching on X, please comment, like, follow the main fantasy account, and retweet. Definitely make sure you are following the main fantasy account if you intend to win the frag giveaway, because I'd hate for it to, your name to be picked on the wheel, and we go to check, and you guys aren't following, that would disqualify you. So make sure you are following the Fantasy main account. But with that being said, I almost forgot about that part because, like I did the other day.
Oh, good. Giveaways,
Back to
3,000
replay.
frags, everybody. Three
That's
people,
huge.
1,000 each. Get to sharing.
Heck yes. But yeah, man. So what markets are you looking at? Kind of that you think are mispriced currently?
Yeah, so let's jump in real time. So I actually think, is it like 5 minutes ago the Degen and Brian just
Resolved?
ended, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, sweet. So okay, so here's one market that I'm excited by, and you at first I didn't think I had an edge because it wasn't specific to fantasy top heroes. And
Mhm.
so I thought I was going to avoid it. And then I used my
The
trusty
mention
AI
market,
tools. So yeah, I'm looking for, let's see, the DGen news. It should have just ended, right?
like the breaking 5 plus.
Yes. Oh, here we go.
I
Yeah.
love that. I won pretty good on that one.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, this one. So like I think I took out some profits, but this one, yeah, so 30% in these markets.
Let's
And
go.
here's what's crazy. I know we've all been talking on the streams, but like literally, if you have X open and just clicking on the grok and asking like who has posted this many words, like this many mentions in these times, especially around like Christmas break or New Year's, and of course you can expect it to be a little bit slower. So for instance, the threshold of the new words at 50, I felt like that was like I felt really, really good about that. So I took the pump fund at one mention at a 3.27x. So that essentially, if this happens 1 in 4 times, I am winning. And so like I think about the expected value there of it being plus EV. I think this happens 1 in 4 times. So happy to place that bet on 1 plus time mention pump fund. Whereas in down here we cleaned up. So the new at 50 plus times at 1.3, Bitcoin under 11 times, Sol under 10 times, and then the
Let's
breaking at five
go.
plus times. So went 4 for 4 there. Uh, this market, it's interesting whenever the team sets these numbers and these thresholds. One of the very first steps I'm taking is wanting to learn more about this account. So DGen News, like, I don't know much about the account outside of like it's very consistently posting a lot. But with the specific mention markets, also one of my favorites. So now let's look at that one for going into. Let's see. We've got. Yeah, let's jump in here. So all right, so the bangers is kind of like a first step to familiarizing yourself with which accounts that basically the fancy top team is excited by. So of course we got the usual suspects, Kalshi, Polymarket, and then some of the bigger accounts of the engagement. This one I feel like is way, way harder for me. This is something like HK I think would clean up here since he understands that the engagement momentum.
Hmm.
I'm looking for, oh, we got updates in real time. Let's see, something just
Let's
changed.
go.
Where is there not DGen News yet live since the other one just closed?
I don't believe so. There wasn't any
Okay.
before, so I was definitely looking for that because I love the mention markets.
Yeah.
Um, and because mention markets are huge. I'm especially excited this week because last week I literally jumped into the breaking 5 plus times live on stream with Kip like last Friday, literally a week ago today.
Oh,
Well, a little over a week ago because it like this is I usually don't stream this late, which I actually like this time. Might be doing a few more this time.
looks like, I mean, good. We're up to almost 300 viewers. That's awesome. So
Let's go.
on that note, though, so like, isn't this the alpha then? So if you're on stream watching this right now, so like literally, I think 7 minutes ago, these markets ended,
Yep.
and that means that just around the corner, there could be another market going live, and obviously it pays to be early because you get to lock in the best prices.
Yep.
Oh wait, so 710 is saying poly market, so that's even
Oh, okay.
better.
Okay. So
So
it
is
has
it?
that. Oh, I like that.
Oh, here we
That is
go.
alpha because I did not know that.
Okay, so let's check this out. So volume, yeah, just starting off, and this is one that I want to see. When can I see if I
Oh, there it
okay,
is. Poly
Wasabi's
market.
in there. Wasabi's in there all across the board
Oh, I
already.
like this. There's a lot of these.
Oh yeah, yeah. So this is one where like getting in the at the pricing, I wanted to lock in. So that's when I was sizing down from 10 to 1 as default. And then I'll start to find more conviction. And if I get to like literally even like double some of these, like if JD Vance 1+ time, if I can cash out like 3 for a 200% ROI, even though it's one fragment, like I'm exiting this position. I'm taking all my risk off the table. It's 200% towards the total ROI of the trading competition. And so that's going to be a pretty big win in my book. And again, I'm focused on, in that case, the ROI. But let's check out these mentions. Oh man, what's your thoughts, Carp, on the word projected, Epstein, and just in, new, and breaking?
So I think breaking, I'm definitely. Oh man, those odds for no though are so I want those odds for no, man. Like those are good odds. Especially like these, like when there's yes no markets, you generally don't see something as big because even like a lot of people don't know this, but because I don't really like post a lot about it because again I'm just usually post about fantasy, but like I do a lot of do that's weird. Kalshi poly market, right?
Yeah,
About 2024 is when I got into it. Not quite as early as you, but like these yes no markets don't usually see these biggest spreads. So when you see a 3x spread, I want to take the shot at that, right?
yeah.
Um, and so the breaking, I definitely want to go yes because I'm pretty sure like breaking on a site like this, just like last week for DGN News, breaking is a pretty like kind
It's
of
their
like
go-to.
it's like
It's
fantasy
the
saying
engagement.
like card or hero, right? Like it's very common.
It's the Beatty, the yeah, breaking. I mean, they can do it for anything that they want to. All
Yep.
caps.
Same with new. No,
Yes.
no. HK pointed something out. So I want to see, like, let me click on this. The wording is key, right? And so one of them has to be like yeah, see case insensitive. Okay, so this one's case
Yeah.
insensitive. Some of them are case sensitive, right? And then HK had put one of them. I don't remember if he said case insensitive or case sensitive, but the fact that they put that there, you definitely need to pay attention to it, right?
I
Um,
actually I bamboozled myself on one of them. The Mert market, when it went live, I did not read the instructions. And I was like, wait, 250 times or whatever the threshold is. Let me jump over that real quick. I am lighting money on fire in this one. I absolutely messed up here.
yes,
And that's
because his is replies as well.
yes. So I was like, okay, Mert
You
is
have to read it.
always posting. And so I'm like, wait, 150 tweets? And there's like 250, 350. I'm like, what am I missing here? And I should have just scrolled up and literally
Yep.
read here.
It's
Because yeah, tweets,
yep.
retweets, quotes, replies, thread posts, all of it staying open. So I'm like, okay, crap. That means like I'm feeling good about 350 under. Everything else, I'm like, I may have just lit 100 frags on fire. Which right now the market is telling me I lit 129 out of 150 frags on fire. So I need to read.
Yeah, because that's something like the hidden alpha or hidden reasoning for this. Sorry, team. The real reason I do these streams is to get alpha firsthand from these guys because you
That's
guys
right.
are on a 10-second delay, so I get this alpha 10 seconds before all you guys. No,
Your
just
alt
kidding.
accounts are already moving in. Push them to
Yep,
sell
yep.
me out.
Yeah, but that reading is key, man. Like, um, HK was saying that he's like, yeah, so you got to read because he was the one who we talked about this Mert market the other day, and he was like, I was like, man, those are big numbers, and he's like, yeah, but it's the
Yeah.
thing that got me was the reply because he's a reply guy to like he just replies like on
I
his own posts to other people's posts, like Jesse's posts, he'll go at him just to like take a jab and say Salon is better, right?
I actually think that's
So
what happened to me. Is when your guys' stream was going, like I was running, and I remember like HK mentioning that, and like it's like no, it counts everything. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap. So then I went back and I just saw I'm like, okay, yeah, lit him on fire, paid some tuition. Yeah, very, very true. Like,
yeah,
and that's the cool thing too. Like, I mean, fantasy can do whatever it wants right now. It's full experimentation mode for prediction
yep,
markets. And
that's what I
so
love.
if Kalshi and Polymarket, are doing the what everybody else would consider standard, like there's no reason, like no one size fits all.
Yep,
So yeah, yeah, I'm
absolutely.
excited. I'm excited by all the experiments. But on this market specifically, so like we notice, so within the last hour, Vitsavi, like if you wanted to copy trade, looks like he jumps in and takes yes almost across the board, except for he took the no side for JD Vance 1+ times. And this
Ooh.
30, like this actually to me is like very interesting. Can't scroll too much past that, but the 30s. So I'm curious just like what he got his odds locked in at,
Because I usually go
coming in for
low.
30.
on those. Well, I'm wondering if they weren't like usually when I see like a 30, especially when you see them in the hundreds, I assume there's quite a bit of liquidity in that market, especially when it's an experienced player like a Vasavi, like yourself. I'm seeing them throwing those bigger numbers. Usually, I see like last week, because granted we only have one week sample size. Well, we have a little bit bigger 1 week sample size, right? Because
for
we
the
have
beta.
some
Yeah,
like beta, but there still wasn't much as nearly as much liquidity as we're seeing now, right? But we're well, fake liquidity, right? Because it was fake frags, but
yeah,
um we like usually see those bigger bets closer to the markets technically going live, right? Well, they're live, but the tournament starting or like the mentioned markets, like the windows of as they start counting things, you see it closer to that, these bigger ones. So seeing those
yeah.
30s or even the 150s, 250s that I was seeing earlier today shows that there's quite a bit like more liquidity in some of these than others, right? And those are the
And
ones I try to go for.
yeah, and on the liquidity side, so right now, like all these are in the couple hundred essentially. Uh, I am feeling like each of these will see like easily over 1,000.
Oh yeah,
Every single one of these as it gets closer. I mean,
absolutely.
the government's already at over 500. But just to check in on a couple of these. So, for instance, uh, right here, I took the new 10 plus times at 1.79, and it's currently 1.52. But again, if you're really wanting to focus on the ROI, or maybe you're starting with like a limited budget, limited frag bankroll, which for those who are thinking about jumping in, the alpha is buy the 5,000 frags if you can for right around like 0.1 ish ETH. That's the best bonus frags, which gets you like close to like 13% bonus. But specifically in this market, let's say I'm starting off with a limited bankroll or really focused on ROI. If I wanted to size more in, and I got in at 1.79 for one frag. Currently, yes, at 1.52 is for 10. So let's see what it is for one. Oh, it's still 1.52. So then that doesn't matter. So then I can actually size in, right?
Yep.
And so if I had more conviction or I gained more conviction leading into the kind of the start of the week, I'm always playing around with these numbers to understand where it starts to drop. It's like 1.51, you lose the 0.01 by going from 10 to 20 frags. So that's something that just take that extra step to understand if you are focused on ROI.
Absolutely. Now, would you say that's what you're focusing on is ROI? I know the answer, but for the viewers,
Yeah, so it's okay to experiment with all of them. Or like I think Pavel is going to have the best sample size across like all the strategies. So he
absolutely.
is up there leading in volume right now. I'm pretty sure uh, because of the volume, him having a winning side of the bets likely puts him in the best position for P&L.
Yep.
On the ROI side, it's way too early to tell to what is
Yeah.
actually going to be needed, but that's the easiest one to jump into while you kind of grasp all of those markets.
Yep. Absolutely. And for those unaware, the trading competition is for all 6 weeks of season 7. So it's not too early or it's not too late to get in. It's never too late, especially having that. Well, any of the markets really, because you can go in and dump a bunch of frags, right? It actively shows where the volume is. But then also, like Clay just said, the P&L is a great one. So we are only on week 2. So yeah, definitely if you're not jumping in already, we have streams. Myself, HK, we have Clay now doing streams. So we're gonna have streams daily, some multiple times a day on these prediction markets. So definitely tune in, and if you haven't jumped in, jump in. Um, it's the trading competition just puts the cherry on top for this prediction market stuff on fantasy.
Yeah, I think that's important too. Is the trading competition should be a byproduct of being good at prediction markets.
Yes,
So if you
exactly.
jump in today and you want to learn, like focus on your bankroll. So if you start with 5,000 frags, and if you get 10% a week, I'd consider that a huge win.
Oh yeah.
But then start to look at the actual competition. Again, that should be like literally the byproduct of you being a good trader.
Yep. Absolutely.
Do we want to look at one more market here? Do we have time carved?
Oh, I'm on until you tell me to shut it off.
All right, maybe 5 more minutes or so. Uh,
Yep, yep.
so this one, this was one of my biggest losses this week, and that's because the hero ranking first. Again, I mentioned earlier in the stream, Adam Cochran got in at somewhere around 6x. Which let me see if I can go back and actually see those results. Yeah, here we go. And then Dip in the final moments overtook and I had
Oh,
basically
that
no
crushed
exposure to
me.
dip.
Yeah,
So I had
I was
sized out.
sizing in.
Yeah. Well, everybody else was sizing it. I, for some reason, just completely ignored and missed the boat. But I was able to take some losses, which is nice. So then in this case, like, it showed my overall after the trading was done and you were locked until the end of the tournament. I had 100 frags left on the table. Definitely lost that to Adam falling to second. But early on, hopefully this actually shows this. Yeah. So I mentioned in another stream, Hart got in at 491 times. And I was able to size out. And again, focusing on ROI, if I started with one fragment and I was able to size out at, 5, 10, and 15, don't think of that in terms of just like, it can't even open a Jade pack. Think of it in terms of, I was able to get 400, 800, 1200% return on
Yep.
sizing out of Heart and taking that money off the table. And my entire play in these who will finish first, this has to be momentum. It has to be in real time. So if you are going to let it ride, this is one of the most risky markets you could do. But if you really like the idea of following along with the competition day to day and checking in like even every evening to see kind of who's who, then this is a market for you because there's a lot of opportunity and frags to be won when you can actually enter and exit well before the actual trading is turned off. And so again, completely missed out on dip, but the Adam Cochran here, 6.17. Like, does he finish first one in every 6 times? The answer is yes. So it's a plus EV play. We just have to be process oriented instead of results oriented here. So essentially, I'm saying that if I make this bet 6 weeks in a row at 100 frags each time, I'm going to finish with more than 600 frags.
So a market I just got into is I said looking at the top five because the commenter, Heart meme coin, NFT, whatever, Heart meme coin, he said, he should have got in on the Adam Cochran one yesterday, right? Because it must have been a little bit more evenly skewed.
For top
But
five
yes,
views.
and I seen that Greg. I just got in at a 2x for Greg. Greg generally is always in the top five. And I mean, granted, I think he was just outside this week, but and I mean, he's not in prime form like he used to be. Because what I love about fantasy is it's not like there for a while. It was Greg. It was always Greg. It was always Dip. It was
Yeah.
always It's gotten more competitive. I love it. But him being in the top five is like you said. It's pretty much like 1 out of every 3, 2 out of every 3. But a 2x on him for a yes, I had to take it, and I did take your advice. And I could have went for 100 frags. I went in for 50 to get over a 2x. It was at like
Right on.
1.9, so losing 10% by going for 100 frags. So I just decided I'm gonna go in at 50 frags now, and then I'm assuming we'll see that I'll get another chance at hitting above 2x, and I'll put another 50 in. As more volume goes in there. And what I like about these ones are all over. Majority of them are over. I know, and pushing towards the 2K frags. So, and like you said, a
Yeah.
lot of people post or like just like on their Cortex, just like arenas, just like all like everything in the arcade, as well as prediction markets. They do it Sunday into Monday morning. That's when they sit down, watching Sunday Night Football. They get their decks in. They do the prediction markets. So we'll see this volume go up. So we'll either be able to scale out, scale in. We'll see where more of these markets, and that's what I'm looking really to see where there's more mispriced markets will be on Sunday.
Exactly. Like you just said, scale out and scale in. So,
Mhm.
so like right when these markets opened, here are some of the bets I took. So for instance, like Adam on top five for this week, I took the no side at 3.23, and I might
Mhm.
actually size in more. And volume wise, it's good, but I expect these volumes like to go like 200 to 300%
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
by the time the tournament starts. And
Yep.
so some of these plays that I'm doing right now, like Rectober, took the yes. I really like the 11.1 to 1. I don't need to hit this. I just need to be able to cash out for better odds, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and so sizing in for the one fragment there, I'll have a chance to exit, I think, the majority of the time and take some winnings. Whereas in like a couple of others that I already have a lot of conviction for. So for instance, will someone else finish top five? Uh, what's really crazy is like so 1.38. is my cost basis, 182, and so far it's currently at 1.4. So what is this? Yeah, 1.4. All right, I'm going to throw more in there to make it even better odds for myself. And I'll continue to pile in this. I really like this is one of my favorite markets, and obviously it performed really well for me this week. But all these entries right now, like I'm kind of dabbling in. I got in. Looks like you beat me to the Greg at getting in at 2.
Yep.
So 1.92. So 1.94 for 10. 1.95. There we go. So if I double my position in Greg, we're going up from 1.92, got in at 1.95. So that brings our base up to 1.94, so better odds.
There we
But
go.
there's a lot of these uh, that I want to momentum trade essentially, and
Yep.
so actually the best example I would give, like big fan of ICO. So this
Yeah.
7x here, I have to decide if I want to enter now. Let's see, so 7.29 off of one frag, or I want to take the opportunity that in early in the tournament, since he obviously knows how fantasy top works, early in tournament, if he has a banger, we might see him in top 10. And all of a sudden, if he goes from like eighth or ninth to seventh, sixth, and then it's like, ooh, just outside of that zone, my advantage from being, a veteran player here, and now everybody else's advantage listening to the stream is most times ICO Beast is going to post more. So it's going to like
Yeah.
degrade the score, right? And so if I enter, I may actually enter after the tournament starts if he puts out a banger post and before this market has a chance to catch up. Because
Hmm.
I think that it could actually get to better odds for us taking yes. The tournament starts, maybe I get in at like 8.59, something like that. And then I'd be trying to exit the position pretty early on in the tournament because, well, ICO is awesome. It's pretty hard for him nowadays to make top 5. So
Yeah.
that's a
And
very
another
much like
thing
scale in, scale out.
about ICO is he also so we've had him on the stream multiple times. He definitely continues to play fantasy, and the thing is he also is very good. And for those who don't know, he is employed by Kalshi, so he knows how prediction markets work. Now, with him being so busy, I don't know for sure if he knows about the fantasy prediction markets. I would, if there was a market against it, I would bet yes that he does know. And so I could see him seeing these markets and kind of playing those as well. Granted, will he have the liquidity to move it the way against some of the whales? I don't know, but seeing him bet on them and like we see, I definitely want to get into like interns a year and intern and Sherlock Holds years, and
Yeah.
as well as ICOB spread like these guys that like last week they were both in contention to take top spot at a platinum, so it'd be really cool to see them playing these. I know that was a little bit of like a squirrel moment, but when it's talking about ICO working for Kalshi and went into that, but it made me think that some of these players playing or these heroes playing as players in core, we could definitely see them roll over and play as prediction market players within fantasy as well.
I mean, perfect example of like I have this thesis that I've shared in a DAO I've been part of for 5 years. It's called OmniX DAO, and it's basically filled with like competitive gamers and data scientists.
Let's go.
And in that DAO, it's like we all share like what excites us most. So there's a prediction market
Mhm.
channel, and what I like my thesis I've developed is that level 3, level 2, level 1 insider. And what's really cool is, on-chain activity is just it's just there. And the copy trading is an opportunity. So for instance, once
Mhm.
Beast wakes up to the fantasy top prediction markets, if he comes in and he's just like, all right, I want dollars for around 90 cents. I'm going to take the no, and then I'm going to take my foot off the pedal, or like, I understand this and take that other side. Like, there's nothing stopping anyone else from following him in and doing the
Yeah.
copy trading. It's very similar to how we had in core, like Evan Van Ness trying to do the Makesy strategy,
Yes, that did not work.
and then like trying to flip flop there, and obviously
Yeah.
didn't work out too well. But also to your point about ICO, being with Kaushi, it is like shout out to Maxey for pointing out like the second you get the badge and you're employed somewhere else, it's like you can't post everything that's on your mind
Nope.
for either like a reflection or you just don't have the bandwidth. And in ICO's beast, I think Kaushi's taken up plenty of time. I'm sure they have some crazy take over the world plans for
Yeah,
2026.
I think his is a bandwidth, like you said. Like he's posting a lot. I think he's still able to post what he wants, but I don't think he has the bandwidth, like you said, right? Because he's definitely posting a lot about Kalashi. He still posts about other stuff too, but like there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so fast and so much you can type, right? So, like you said,
Yeah.
definitely having once you get a job, being unemployed is bullish for but being
Being
employed is
unemployable.
bearish.
That's what
Yes.
I say. Like yeah, unemployable is how I try to describe myself. But these are like, I mean, one, this content, like, it's awesome. We just had over 400 people watching. So
Especially on
that's
Boxing Day, aka
yes,
the the day after Christmas.
that's right. Yeah, I think man, we're at about 51 minutes, 405 people watching. You're going
Mhm.
to choose the winners after the stream, right? Going to go
Yep.
through and whoever quote tweeted. Okay, so yeah, just a reminder. So you're giving away three 1,000 fragments.
Yep.
Okay, to anybody who shares, comments,
Uh,
and it has to be following Fantasy Top.
yep. Yep.
Cool. How about this? How about we take man, I want to see, can we get to like 450 viewers in the next 10 minutes and do a cutoff at 1 hour? Will that work for you?
Oh, absolutely, brother. Yeah.
Let's
Like
find
I
more
said,
mispriced markets.
I'm literally on until you say, Carper, we gotta go. We gotta get off.
You got to wake up and get your workout in about what, 8 hours or so.
Yep, yep. But yeah,
So,
but I still got like an hour. So since it's Friday, and well, since it's holiday break, generally my bedtime is in 30 minutes, like max like an hour and 30 minutes. But like
okay.
I've been pushing it to like 7:30 at night, like to
It's
go
because
crazy.
that hat is bringing all of the Christmas energy to you.
Yes, yes. Yeah, like you kind of see the lights. Like my wife and daughter gave it to me, like, and they gave it to me after the stream yesterday, and they're like, just wear it on the Friday stream,
Why
cause
not,
yeah,
man?
yep,
It's styling.
heck yeah.
Yeah, okay, so let's in the final kind of 7, 8 minutes here, hopefully we can get 450 viewers. So if you haven't shared yet, please do. So I wanted to jump into this market, the Heroes Final Ranks. Some of these, and I know behind the scenes, like the mole for sure has to be behind some of these markets because they're so close that when I look at like Fan Pro by Board Sharky or Fantasy Top HUDs that I co-created, the like when I look at the positions, I'm like, dang, this is like plus or minus two positions based upon what our data is showing. So then I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, there's just no edge for me here. So I think there's a couple, like HK was a good example last week where like I really
Mhm.
wanted to bet on him, but I'm like, this is like, I have no edge, no edge. It's not mispriced. It's just like perfectly dialed in. Uh, so here, when this market spun up, so I take the approach. This is actually one of the best markets I think to do like a pretty big spread on, and
Mhm.
like go into most of the markets. And that's because all throughout the tournament, these could flip flop. Somebody could post a banger and go from like no post to literally top five, right? So there's more variance. So the more variance that there are in these markets, the more opportunity I see for jumping in, taking a spread on some pretty good odds, and then kind of momentum trade in and out of them. So definitely pay attention, like, historical. So like as an example, let's just start from the bottom here. So he took what will main rank next week, 16 plus. We assume that his holidays are going to continue. He's shared that with people. We've definitely now seen it come true for what he said. And this is going to run through basically the morning of January 1st. So with festivities, Wednesday, Thursday, next week for New Year's Eve and New Year's. So the 16 plus, I feel like was absolutely free money for Maine.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and so it got in at 1.9 and it's still showing 1.89. If we change that, that's also 1.9. So I can literally double my position here and keep at the 1.9. I know you're a big fan of Jez,
Yeah.
right?
Very
So
Jazz Max.
what do you think about this market that, like, top 33, 34 plus 1.782?
I will never be able to do a no on Jazz, so I'm waiting for the time to be right. What are the odds right now on the plus 133 or 33? I mean,
So 1.78, which is like, I mean,
I'd like
small
to see him
volume right
closer to
now, but
two. I'd like to see
okay,
him closer
yeah,
to two.
that's where. So I took and basically from like a weighted approach, I took the 34 plus at the 1.9. So that right there
My
tells
horse.
me that I need to jump in here and I need to do this. I need to jump in. I don't know if anybody's front running me here, but just double my position. I want to bring my bases up.
There we go. Yeah, so what's nice about StreamYard is we're on a 10-second delay. So as long as like I always tell HK, like Pavel, everyone that like as long as you can from when you start talking to when you put your bet in, it's at least shorter than 10 seconds, they won't be able to front run you.
Right on. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll find a couple more that I can real quick jump into here.
Yep.
But for those watching, yeah, jumping into this market, definitely like spreading the bets here because you can do a lot of momentum, and it's one of the highest variance markets, especially from the heroes who are strategically and with that kind of data driven decision placed in here where you can actually make your choices. So, uh, like here's a couple that I felt was pretty close to a coin flip. So on the ICO market, and there's already 500 for volume. So first through 34 right now 1.37, 35 plus 3.04. But when opening, I took the 35 plus and got in at 2. So
Ooh.
this right here is telling me like this is way off from my original entry. And so that's an advantage for me. So if I go, let's see, so 3.07. So we got in at the 2.02, now the 3.07. And we are in real time, that just updated to 2.55. So I don't want to leave money on the table. Again, if I place the bet, the conviction's there. This is a momentum trading market. So by noticing that right there at the 3, they gave us a huge opportunity to jump up from like getting a 2x to 2.55x.
Ooh, nice. I like that. And I think a lot of people, one thing that you said that really stuck out to me, and like was the fact of don't think of about it as oh this isn't at least one jade. This is 10 to 12%. This is 20%. Like go percentage wise instead of looking at the frag value of themselves, right? Because I'll
Yes.
catch myself looking at it like when I first get into the one who's going to finish first, which most of them I'm not expecting to run those to resolution. I'm going to try and scale out of those unless it's something where like last week's Dip Wheeler type of thing, which I learned my
Your
lesson on
your
that
intern,
one.
I mean, your intern win was what multiple was
Oh,
that?
I got in and it was like a 200 something when I first got in. And
There
I
we
only
go.
put one frag in. Because what I do is like I'll go back and go to one frag and go down and kind of see where they're at. I don't like to get in right away because they're all weighted the same, so you won't see any that are really in the hundreds. But once some of the people start putting in on Adam and Greg and everyone, especially intern had a few weeks off. So last week was like the perfect week for him to post it.
Yeah.
And like you said, like the historical value. But I ended up getting out of like a oh, I don't remember because I still had quite a bit on the table, but I want to say I ended up getting like 20 or 30 frags out. So at least like, and I still had some in there. So we'd say like a 50x, I'm assuming. And I
Oh,
left a good amount in there, hoping it would still hit. And that was off one frag, right?
yeah.
So
But
it could have went really well.
that's important to while trading is still open. I think that you need to come in with the mindset of like, what is my plan here if I enter? Is it mispriced? Am I like feeling like emotionally tied to Adam Cochran taking first place because I also hold like 6 of his cards in
Yeah.
core. If you can separate that and just like try to find the mispriced and ask yourself, like for instance, the Hart play for me, it was nothing to do with like, did I think Hart was going to top 5 this week? The answer was absolutely not. But the idea was I was getting 490 to X. All right. It's like literally 490X. Are they're going to make top 5 one in every 500 times? Yes.
Yep.
And it's going to be way better than that. So then that's how we were able to get a 400, 800, and the 1200% return on sizing
Mhm.
out of Hart.
There we go. And Hart like shocked me last week. And having some like the only thing that stinks about like when that stuff happens is it like when having their common cards. But what I like is having like the prediction market is something where I always say this on all the streams now is I never was able to play reverse because it just the way my brain works. And but I love being able to like hedge my bets with prediction market, and I do that a lot now. Like this is the perfect
Yeah.
hedge bets.
Like for instance, I exited my like almost all my DB positions in core, but then I
Likewise,
find myself,
it
I'm
broke
like,
my heart too many times.
yeah, that's right. And so then I see myself, I'm like, will DB post this week? F yeah, he will. And here we
Yep,
go. We're jumping to the
yep,
prediction markets. It's like I got to make some of the frags back.
yep.
Hey, we just hit over 450 viewers. That's awesome.
Let's go. And faster than the time limit too, because we're
Heck
still
yeah.
under an hour. That's perfect.
And this right here shows like, yeah, everybody wants to learn and understand prediction markets more. I mean, there's so many levels to the fantasy top prediction markets because you start with 180 heroes betting on how viral they'll go. And for me, like these markets, like just dabble around in it. Like literally bet the one frag at a time just to get exposure and learn in real time. But learn from my mistake of just make sure read the rules, especially for
Yep.
the mentioned markets. Otherwise, you light some frags on fire.
Oh yeah. Hey, who knows? Maybe he just he takes a break next week and it works out.
That'd be some good variance. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll be trying to probably take my losses whenever I can off of the under 250 because he is a reply guy, and I
absolutely.
think he has 250. But cool, Carp. Thanks
Absolutely.
for having me. I'm gonna
Yes, sir.
if it's cool to call it a day.
Yes, yes, I'm good. My kids, I better go wrestle with them for a little bit. But yeah,
Deal.
man, thanks for coming on. Thank you everyone for tuning in and pay close attention and also hop into the Fantasy Top Discord, as well as keep a check out on the X in the comments from this stream. Within 24 hours, we'll have the winners for that stream or the giveaways. The three people winning 1K frags. So make sure you comment and all that fun stuff. Make sure you're following. And Clay, thank you so much. And do you know when you were thinking about streaming again? Just to kind of get a little spoiler alert out there for those who want to see you again.
Yeah, should be able to stream Sunday night. So I'll jump on the main fantasy account here. By that point in time, I'll have seen a lot of volume go in. I'll have a lot more conviction, and we'll be betting and placing a lot of kind of last minute bets before the tournament starts.
Perfect. Awesome. And then tomorrow morning we're moving it back a little earlier for the deck building series for HK's time zone. So we will be on at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the deck building series. And then Clay will be on Sunday for the his strategy. I don't know what you call it. What do you call it? I don't want to butcher it.
Mispriced something prediction markets.
Bingo. That's our cue.
Deal.
All right, brother. We will see you on the fantasy prediction markets on the timeline, all the fun things. And thank you again for coming, man.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Yep, we'll see you around. Bye. I gotta set this outro real quick. Select, set outro. All right, and we're out. Bye, guys.